What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis,
Scoop.
Sam Claiborne,
Hey, everybody.
and clearly Canadian CJ Gibson is
What's
back.
up?
You know, we used to call Charles Onyett the Ragin' Canadian.
Yes, I remember that.
How do you remember that?
Because I watched a lot of Game Scoop before. I know Trevor.
Yeah, I did too, but I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that Charles is never coming back to Game Scoop, though.
Ooh.
maybe this title will be
Just, I appreciate this.
given to CJ.
Did
Charles burst through the wall.
the Kool-Aid man?
I wish.
Did,
I wish Charles would burst in here right
Did
now.
Charles enjoy that nickname? Did he embrace it?
I don't
Well,
think
like
he-
you, he had a hell of a temper.
Oh, right. Well,
Sure. Very
we'll
temperamental
see.
guy.
Charles didn't enjoy much, and I say that as a friend.
Yeah.
We've got a great show for this week. Nintendo announced a whole bunch of more awesome indie games coming to Switch. One of them that we were just talking about last week from Justin, that which he really liked.
Called it.
We've
Wait,
got
that game is
Yeah.
going to be out on Switch. Okay, cool. We'll talk
that's
about
coming too. We've got lots of listener mail to get through. But first, Resident Evil 2 should be out now by the time you are listening or watching this, and that game is awesome. I think everybody out there should play it.
Yeah.
Of course, I reviewed it. You may have seen in my review, I actually got something wrong about the game. I misunderstood the way you unlock the different modes, so that was embarrassing. But everyone was super nice about it. Everyone said it's cool, we all make mistakes. So we issued a correction. We updated the review, bumped up the score just a little bit because what I had thought had been a problem with the game actually wasn't. And then everyone moved on with their lives, and now we can all just enjoy this great game. Sam, you've also beaten, who you played through Cleon, or Cleon.
I played the Klingon
That's like-
playthrough.
The new game.
Klingon and
That's
Claire.
game mode.
First you played through,
The couple's name.
you played through Claire first.
Yeah, I played through Claire, and then I played Leon's game B, and it's so hard and scary that I can't go much further.
It is very, very scary. It's legitimately
crazy.
scary. Maybe too scary for Justin.
Oh,
Not the main game. I'm
you
talking about
there's
playing
no
it
maybe
on hard
about
the
it.
second way.
I was freaked at E3. I couldn't finish. The demo was timed, and I'm like, nah. And he's like, you don't like it? And I'm like, I've seen enough.
Yeah. So did you actually play the demo recently, or was it just at E3?
E3.
Played it at
Yeah.
a week
played-
ago after we were talking about.
Yeah.
I was the same. Like it's funny. I love Mortal Kombat for what it is, but I'm not a huge gore guy. And so when I was playing that game, I don't know how many times I would go into a little crevice area, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I know when I hard turn left here, there's got to be something behind me, and yeah, I don't know if I can get through that game.
I love the horror and the scare stuff. It's my favorite part about the game.
Yeah.
And it works because it's also an action game.
Yes.
So like the original games for me, where they don't work, like 1 and 2, like standard, is that it's scary and it's cool. But then it's so easy to die because your aiming is just up or down, and it's tank controls and stuff. In this game, you have so much control over your gun,
And the shooting feels really good.
it does,
and
feel
it
good.
looks good.
It does.
It's
The
great.
zombies are, like,
every
so-
shot does something.
Yeah.
So damageable and deformable. Like you can shoot through their hands, blow their hands off, blow off parts of their face, and
Yeah.
they're really juicy. Like they
Gross.
Yeah.
they leak all this like really
but-
shiny bright red blood.
And there's the way, like, you need to hit them in the head. You don't have enough
Yes.
ammo to screw this up.
Yep.
And as soon as you miss a shot, you have a really good chance of mixing the next one because you're able to correct it.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun to watch people play. Even I played forever. Like I can play this game well, and I played a lot of Resident Evil 4. I 100%ed it, did all the mercenary stuff.
Nice.
But like I screw up, and when I screw up, it just cascades. It just gets worse
Yeah.
and worse. Zombies on top of you.
Downhill.
I love that about this game, and I like playing it on its higher difficulties. It's like it's scary and difficult, and you have the resources though to make it work.
Yeah.
It's like real survival horror where you feel like you always have just barely enough ammo.
You always have 6 bullets. That's what you were
I
saying.
mean, or less, fewer.
Yeah.
But that's cool though. I like the old school games that felt a little bit like a trial and error thing, or there was some. I feel like a lot of the new games, they don't give you that flavor. It's like, oh, you can just do what you want and it's fine, and
This
that's
is one of those
cool.
games
I like that.
where the trial and error is a total part of it, because I think
Yeah.
the main I've said this about Fallout before, so you might have heard this, but the main, I think, gameplay mechanic in Resident Evil is saving, and you can save at a typewriter.
That's how you describe Symphony of the Night also.
Yeah. All those games. I love that about Symphony of the Night. That's you have to get to a save room. Is how that's the thing of that. But in this, it's like about manipulating your save. Like if you screw up, you can load your save you just made and redo it again and do it a little bit better. And I totally do that. And that's kind of how I learn the game. I like repeat sections and then I can play it on hard later. So I really like that about it. But this game punishes you for that. I thought that was so cool. Instead of giving you ink cartridges for the typewriter, you have unlimited saves, but if you use your unlimited saves, you don't get a good rating at the end of the game.
Yeah, it rates on how many times you save. Time to completion and how many times you saved. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least it shows those stats, and we are still testing to see like it tells you specifically how to get an S rating based on time, but I wonder how much saving affects that. It's really cool to think about.
Does it unlock anything, or is there anything?
Yeah, there's like so there's.
I don't know if this is a spoiler or not.
No, I won't go. I won't even talk about things in specifics.
Yeah.
But the original game had all these unlockable characters and modes, and what we can see in the menus right now is like do this, and you'll be able to unlock a mode. It just says what it is. So
that's cool.
We are actually working on documenting that right now. So we'll have it in our big strategy guide, which I'm helping with this time. I really liked working on that.
The original game had the A and B modes. They don't call that. They don't refer to them this way in the remake. It's the main game and then the second game.
Yeah.
And the way you're supposed to do it is you play through one of them first, Leon or Claire, and then you go play through the second character in the second game mode.
Yes, you only play
how it's intended.
Leon, then Claire, or Claire, then Leon, and then you get a little bit of a mix-up for the other one. But you can just play them both from the start in parallel. You can't choose either one.
Which is what I did, but that's not how it's intended. Like when you play through the game first time with either Leon or Claire, you've seen probably 80% of the game. The other like 20%, 10 to 15% is in the other character, and the only difference is in the middle of the campaign, each of them meet a unique person that they travel with for a while, and then you actually play the other person for a while. It's different for Leon and Claire, but other than that, the game is entirely the same for both of them.
And then the second scenario, they just change the locations of stuff.
You enter the first area, the police department, from a different way, and then some items are rearranged. But you still have to do the main puzzles to exit the police station.
And they're different.
You still go through the sewers, but there are no new enemies, no new boss fights, no new characters that you meet. There's just
different weapons make a difference, though.
Well, that's what I was going to mention. And then at the end, in the second game, is like the real ending, the true ending, where there's a little bit more.
Yeah, and
fleshed out, which is very funny. I think the real ending, I found it very humorous.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet.
I want to know after the show.
I'll tell you what it is.
Exactly.
You will laugh.
Oh no, you did tell me what it was. Yeah. And then I know there's more playthroughs, but I think some of them are really hard to unlock. Like in the original game, you can unlock this tofu playthrough, which is like it looks like a leftover like model. It's like a big white box.
I think they use it
you only
for
have a
testing during development.
Yeah, and I think for that, I looked it up, and at least on the GameCube version, you have to beat the game 6 times, I think, and then do this other unlocking stuff too. I looked it up yesterday, and I was like, I don't know if it'll be the same in this. And again, we're trying to figure out how to unlock everything in the game, and that's what you do when you write a strategy guide. But I like how it has those other things in it. Yeah. And to get to them is going to be really cool.
I think one thing, I mean, I don't ever review games anymore, but when I did, it can be a very lonely process. You're one of the only people in the wild that didn't make the game, playing the game. And, sometimes there's other people in the office playing, but sometimes there's not. It's like you're on your own. And if you get stuck, I think people in the public that play games are used to just like ask a forum, ask a message board, send out a tweet, check an IGN wiki or GameFAQs. But you kind of like you're just stuck. Like you got to figure it out. There's no recourse, and it does feel lonely. And there's not a wealth of information just kind of at your fingertips, and it's hard. That's like an underrated challenge of reviewing games. In addition to like the deadline pressure, is just there's definitely been times where like even in like mobile games like Infinity Blade, I'm like it's kind of unclear to me what I'm supposed to be doing, where I'm supposed to be going. And like you sometimes have to resort to reaching out to the game developer or publisher, being like, "Look, I'm a little confused."
That's especially hard with games that have been localized from Japan or another country that's not English speaking, because they have like different teams and they kind of like filter it through all those. And sometimes they just come back with like, "We can't answer that question."
So it's like everything you're talking about right now, like how to unlock the modes and characters. Like there's going to be a guide, and there's going to be like people are going to figure that stuff out the second day that game comes out because people are maniacs.
Yeah, they
but
can
like
marathon it.
Right now, we don't like. People need to understand like you don't always know. That's not like handed to you. Like you have to figure it out. Like Brendan had to figure out how the Smash character unlocking worked. Like,
and as journalists, we do ask, and Capcom knows we want to know this stuff. So. But they also want to keep it kind of a secret too. Sometimes they tell us in reviews that we can't talk about the secret stuff or the unlockables specifically because they want people to discover those for themselves. It's a class of spoiler.
In this case, there was like a certain scene we weren't allowed to talk about in the review, and then certain segments late in the game that they don't want you to spoil for people, which is totally understandable. So the game is super fun. The zombies look amazing. It's like so fun to explore all these different areas. It's genuinely scary. And the one thing that bugged me is just there's so much overlap between the two characters' stories. There aren't actually two campaigns. Like the whole objective in the police station is that there's a statue in the main hall with 3 slots for medallions. You have to find 3 medallions, and then you can proceed. So if you did that as Leon first, when you come through as Claire, you shouldn't have to do that again, but you do.
Yeah,
do
or
all-
like
just do the same
figure out a
puzzle.
way for them to tell the story with a different puzzle, so
Yeah.
you know that like, oh, well, Leon's off solving that puzzle.
Yeah.
Right.
You
But
even
they,
have to.
They
like-
don't get that clever about it. It's really video gamey how they handle it.
Like you even have to, like, no spoilers. You have to destroy part of the police station to proceed. But then when you come through the second time is clear, it's back and you have to destroy it again.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not an actual second campaign. There's just
Gotcha.
slight differences. The different weapons though definitely make it feel different. And I think Claire's feels more difficult because you don't have the shotgun with her.
Yeah, it stinks. You have a you have a grenade launcher, which is cool.
Seems
It sounds great,
Yeah.
right? But think like they have to balance that because it's so much more powerful with having a lot less ammo. So you can make ammo for it and you can find ammo for it. But like compared to the shotgun, like you always have those like few shotgun shells left on you to like do what you need to do. But with a grenade launcher, it's like, no, you got to stockpile that for like a boss or for a group of zombies, right? Because that's what that's for. It's not for individuals.
You could also do just my strategy and just never play that game and just don't, just don't play it.
Do you think it's scarier than 4 or 7?
I was
We were talking about that a little.
Yeah, I was going back and forth in my mind with that. At first, I thought 7 was scarier, but I mean, I don't know. I was playing Resident Evil 2 in daylight. It was like bright in my living room, and I was still like
Yeah, it
scared.
makes me tense.
Like the tyrant, like in the police station, the floors are all hardwood, and you can hear the tyrant like
Creaking
in the
around all the time.
room above you, or he's in the room right next door, and you're like,
Yeah, that sounds really good for
It's-
that.
Yeah, that's what scared me the most. It was the sounds in the dark room where you know something and you're anticipating it. And it does, yeah, I mean, play the demo. I want to play the game, so this is a question I have for you. It's too early probably for Game of the Year, or was it like, did you like it that much?
I mean, I loved the game. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's too early. It's the best game I've played this year.
There you go.
9
but-
out of 10, so it's going to have to be in the hunt.
Yeah, but I mean, so I think for that reason, I want to play it. But yeah, I'm kind of like with you, Justin. I don't know.
It's too many games on this earth for me to get that stressed out by.
Yeah. I think Kingdom Hearts were reviewed today, so it got a similar score.
Yeah.
A little bit lower.
7?
8.7,
7, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan really liked that one.
It's hard to be, I commiserate with Jonathan being just a Kingdom Hearts super fan. Like, he loves it. And so does that mean that you end up overrating a game, or does that mean you're so hard on it?
Yeah, it must be tough.
Like, as someone that's really, really into it, sometimes those super fans actually ding, the sequel more just for not, living up to their expectations.
Yeah, like we all did with Mass Effect 3. I mean, seriously, like, that game probably on its own is a pretty good game. It's got a silly ending. But after Mass Effect 2 and 1, people had a lot of high expectations for it.
Yeah.
I actually been looking, I watched our video review and I've been watching our guides team play that game. It kind of has these platforming elements to it. Like, I mean, it's not really, it has, first of all, it's combat, which is nice. It's not turn-based. And you jump around, you get like an expanded repertoire in how you can move around. And it kind of looks like a little bit like a good Banjo-Kazooie type game. Like that's pretty neat.
Are you going to play it?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I kind of like it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I like how it looks. It's just I don't like the Disney settings too much. Yeah. And that's weird because I do like some Disney stuff. I really like, like how Snow White looks or like something like that. Like I think Disney has like some really cool eras.
Yeah.
And I love like the Aladdin game for Super Nintendo or for Genesis, I should say.
Yeah. I'm not gonna play Kingdom Hearts either. But what really impresses me about that game is each Disney world is its own little, like the Pirates of the Caribbean world is like a little mini Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Like you get on a ship and it's got upgrades and it's got its own systems and like its own whole thing going on.
Yeah.
And then all the different worlds have like a different little twist. And Jonathan in his review says that some of them are better than others, but like. That's amazing that they crammed, all these little subsystems into the game.
Did you see the little tangled cutscenes in his review? Like
it's
those
crazy.
look like, I mean, they look very cinematic. It's super cool.
But that's what he was saying a little bit is that when I was chatting with him about him, because he's a huge super fan. He was saying, your expectation almost makes it harder.
So hard.
Because you look at like what Disney's doing and then what games are doing, and it goes back to our conversation a little bit last week. You're like, oh, I wanted this because I've seen this maybe elsewhere and stuff like that. So it does make it different, I think.
And Jonathan also made a great point that the game's graphics, which are incredible, like the worlds just look amazing, in some ways almost work against the game because when it was in the PS2 and the Disney worlds looked more crude, your expectations for the level of storytelling that game needed to hit were lower. But now that the game worlds actually look almost as good as the CG movies do, you notice the disconnect between, the storytelling isn't quite up to
like the Toy Story
Pixar
team
level
didn't write it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it looks like Toy Story still. That's an interesting way of looking at it too. Yeah.
Cool.
But, since I had low expectations, maybe I'm more excited to
Maybe
play
I'll
it.
give it a
I
shot.
don't know, it just looks like it has some Final
curious
Fantasy
to-
stuff in it that I like.
Curious to get your perspective of if you play it and you're like, this game's great, so fun.
Yeah,
Like, that
yeah.
could
Let us
totally be
know.
a valid.
Give us an update if you do play it.
Okay.
When is it out? Is it out next week?
The very, very end of the month. I don't recall which day, but like the 29th or something.
Next
like
Friday.
Early review. And first time on Xbox, so
Maybe it's not Friday.
for,
Sorry,
Xbox gamers.
I don't know.
that. Is that true?
I think so.
No.
All right, moving on.
That's
It is another week. Another awesome lineup of indie games announced for Nintendo Switch, including Crosscode,
Yeah.
which weren't you just telling us about last week, Justin?
Yeah, game.
And I said, sounds great. I'll play it when it comes to Switch.
There you go.
We
It's
get
coming.
that chance
They
sometime
saw
soon.
the podcast and called up Nintendo.
Hey, let's
and-
just
quick
those
call.
guys, those Game Scoop guys want
They did
want
a-
Crosscode on Switch.
They did a cute thing where there's an enemy in the game that looks like a hedgehog, and it's called a hedgehag. So just a little fantasy spin on a hedgehog. And they say the number, like last year, like last December or something, they're like, our game will come to Switch when hedgehags fly. And then in their trailer, the Switch version has flying hedgehags in it. And so that was like their little
nice.
cutesy way of like
Subtle.
sort of lying to people, but also just, you can't announce something before it's time to announce it. So.
Yeah.
And you've played this.
Yeah.
On Steam.
Does it feel like a Secret of Mana type game?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's by far the best game of the most overlooked game of 2018. Like it deserves. If you go back and look at the timeline for a game like Hollow Knight, that game was not popular when it came out, and it like built up over time. And I think Crosscode has a chance of being a game like that it just gets discovered, 3, 6, 12 months after it came out.
Nice. Does it lend itself well to Switch? Do you think
Yeah.
this is where the home will
Like
be?
D-pad and
people-
everything will work?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it doesn't
an
have a
action
D-pad.
RPG with an action combat system. So you're swinging a sword and shooting a little disc out in real time. It's great. It's amazing. It's
Nice.
like part bullet heli. Oh man, so good.
And I'm not sure if that got a release date or not, but at least we know it's coming.
Yeah.
But what did get release date is Wargroove. And this is the Advance Wars, I think it was announced 2 years ago,
Long time ago.
before the Switch was even out. And now it's finally coming February 1st.
And by the way, I work at IGN. I know a lot about video games. I thought that game was a Switch exclusive. It's not.
No,
It's coming. it's
coming to
coming
the
out all
platforms.
over the place.
Yeah. I think one of the platforms is delayed, but I don't know exactly which one. But we at least know it's hitting Switch February 1st. I've actually been playing a lot of it. I don't know what all I can say, but I would probably, they're trying to fill a gap in Nintendo's library. Nintendo hasn't made an Advance Wars game in a long time.
Yeah, that's great.
When I don't
I think if you like Advance Wars, I think you should probably check this game out.
I'm a gigantic Advance Wars fan. Ran an Advance Wars fan site for over a decade. I won't plug it because it's actually offline now. But
Not much point in plugging it.
You could plug the Internet Archive version of it.
well, and it's a sort of a point of pain for me. I don't dislike Fire Emblem, but I've always been an Advance Wars guy, and Fire Emblem seems to have kind of taken over.
It really did.
That's and, well, it's the same team. It's Intelligent Systems, so it literally took over in the sense of what is that studio working on, but also just in the mind share of Nintendo fans. Fire Emblem kind of seemed to win, and it became the RPG franchise, and it.
Well, that's because of Smash.
Well, Smash, it's all intertwined now, right? And so it's definitely painful for me. And so I'm pleased to see that Wargroove seems to be. None of the other strategy RPGs have sort of scratched that Advanced Wars itch in the same way that I've played.
Yeah.
And Wargroove, I think, has the best chance of doing it. So
This
very
is
excited.
Whereas Advance Wars is like a cartoonish modern military setting with tanks and jeeps and machine guns and stuff. Wargroove is a fantasy setting.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Swords, shields, arrows for your range weapons.
More disposable units, more units on the field. Fire Emblem is a little bit more. It's not actually small maps, but Advance Wars can have dozens of units on a side, and you're just sort of smashing them into each other, and it's really fast and snappy. And Fire Emblem has always been a little bit slower and more tactical, and so I'm happy to sort of get back to that other SR strategy game.
It's just like Advance Wars where your unit's health is also their attack power. So the attacker always has the advantage.
I've only played the Advance Wars that has the kind of World War I-ish tanks and stuff setting. It was on DS.
So that was probably
was-
the last one that was made.
There was
Yeah,
Dual
yeah.
Strike, and then there was Days of Ruin.
I think it was
Days of
probably
Ruin.
Days of Ruin,
Yeah.
which they
Days of Ruin's
leaned
the
into a
worst.
little bit more
Yeah. I
realistic,
hit a wall
and a
on
little
it,
bit more
for sure.
serious tone in that game than the first two, I think.
Yeah, I remember that being that way.
Anyway, Wargroove, February 1st. That's really good. And then they announced a new SteamWorld game. And the SteamWorld games are awesome.
Yeah.
And they're just doing something different again. So
Card-based
Dig,
RPG?
Dig was like a Metroidvania platformer. and Dig 2, of course. Heist was a side-scrolling turn-based strategy game.
Heist is in my backlog. I bought it, haven't played it.
Heist is really good.
And this is like a Darkest Dungeon type game.
Well,
Is
it's
that
a
what it looks
it's
like
a
to you
role-playing
guys? I
card
hadn't
game.
played Darkest Dungeon, but
It's a card game.
It just looks more like a traditional RPG, like
But with the
with
cards
cards, yeah.
mechanic, yeah.
But it didn't show like a top-down like overworld situation. It was like kind of walking left to right and just encountering enemies. From what the trailer shows,
yeah,
so
that's a
I
good
can't
point.
tell if it has the JRPG like type thing going, or if it has more of a Darkest Dungeon, just encounters.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Yeah. We just know the broad strokes role-playing card game, but I like everything those guys do. They said this is the
that
fifth
team
game.
knows what they're doing.
The developers Image and Form Games. And so working backwards, there was SteamWorld Dig 2, Heist, SteamWorld Dig.
They did
this one. And then what's the first game on like DS?
They made a mobile game.
Yeah.
If they're
Is that
counting
what it
that.
was? Maybe that's
That developer, I had this crazy epiphany moment where I was like, oh, I wonder what Image and Form did like before SteamWorld Dig. And I looked them up, and they made a mobile game for iPhone that I reviewed and liked a lot, and just never connected the dots between, it's called like Ant Farm or something like that, where you can.
So it didn't have the robots in it.
No, it's completely different. You control an ant colony.
What year is that?
2011, 2012.
Okay, it's a while ago. Anyway, another game to put on your radar is called Inmost. Did you guys take a look at this game?
No, I didn't see it most.
Didn't see it.
Oh, I was showing it to you yesterday. This is
Oh,
the
which one was it?
side-scrolling, like sort of like macabre pixel art,
Oh yeah. It was like
dark
Yeah, I remember that now.
horror-looking pixel art game. It says there are 3 main characters, each with their own unique gameplay styles. You scale the environment by sneaking past enemies, luring them into deadly traps, solving puzzles, and slicing.
That's the one that looks like Rayman, new Rayman.
New Rayman. No, it's pixel art.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
There was a different one announced that's from X-Rayman developers that has that exact same 2D style, and I thought it also had multiple playable characters. Maybe not.
This one that I'm talking about is called Inmost. It's coming out this year sometime.
Got it.
There's a game called Forager that looks cool, and it should be appealing to those Stardew Valley fans out there.
Forger looks great. That is a just an ass game.
2D open world game. It says inspired by exploration, farming, and crafting games like Stardew Valley, Terraria, and Zelda. It says you start small and improve your base, skills, equipment, network of friends and enemies. That one's coming Q1 2019.
It looks like I haven't played it, but to me, watching the trailer and stuff, it looks like Don't Starve, like a little bit more cutesy, casual version of Don't Starve.
I see. And then coming very soon is the next game from the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon guys. It's called Dragon March for Death. And that one's out at the end of this month, January 31st.
Is that an original game?
Yeah, well, as far as I know. And it looks like a really beautiful pixel art, side-scrolling, maybe hack and slash game, like that sort of action game.
We're in a new era of
Exactly.
pixel art games.
So
I mean, I know
yeah.
that Shovel Knight and everything was happening, but
Yeah.
so many, like, was it like the majority of the games announced for the Switch were like,
Well, yeah, I mean,
it indie
this,
event?
is
The ones
also
you
being,
picked.
this is also being reflected through my personal taste because there were other games. These are the ones that were most interesting to me.
yeah, that's why it's like, but it is like half of them
Yeah,
have that kind of art
I
style.
think
which is
Goat
really
Simulator is out now on Switch.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Old Goat
I haven't played that
Simulator.
one yet. Let's check in with the listeners.
Hey.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Eddie did. Do you think it's Eddie Van Halen?
It could be.
I mean, it
Probably.
could be,
Yeah.
It's probably not.
but it could be. Can't rule it out.
Okay. I mean, Eddie Van Halen could be writing in under an assumed name. Any of the letters.
He could be writing in as Sammy Hagar.
That's true. All of these are possible. Eddie says, "What's up, Omega Cops? Been a listener for the last 10 years. Rarely miss a week. Keep up the great work. Wanted to put a thought to the show. Has Red Dead Redemption 2 hurt the franchise? The game is undoubtedly an amazing technical marvel, but it's one that is almost universally seen as impressive, but not fun to play. The game hides an intricate world behind slow pacing that makes it hard to sit down and play, few travel options, and endless systems that don't really matter. Has anyone really kept Arthur's weight up or perfectly maintained their guns? Few people I know have finished it. The buzz around this game fell off pretty quickly, and there just isn't the same fascination with it that followed Red Dead Redemption for seemingly ages. While not the disaster Mass Effect Andromeda and Fallout 76 were, is the Red Dead Redemption brand somewhat tarnished due to the game design choices of this sequel?"
Good question.
Oof. I mean, now we did find out MPD this week. It was the best-selling game of 2018.
Yeah, and got tens everywhere, so that makes it different than Mass Effect Andromeda.
I was gonna say
that's not a great comparison.
it's not. Did he make
But
that
that's what
comparison?
no, he said it is different. You know, it does. It's not quite at the level of like.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he said so. He was
not-
making
yeah.
a distinction.
It's not a disaster like those games were.
I was in.
Hugely successful.
Yeah.
But like, if they announced a Red Dead Redemption 3 2 years from now,
Yeah.
what would people's excitement level?
I don't think there will be one.
You don't think
At
there'll
all.
ever be a sequel?
No, I mean, what is it? They're going to set it in the 1920s.
They do run out of, the Wild West is a
cowboys.
finite, space to explore.
They could tell a
right?
different story, though. I'm just making a joke, but I think this is not as exciting for them to make another Red Dead, perhaps as another.
I mean, it's
different game.
so big and comprehensive, and such like a thorough look at many different sides of the Wild West that it feels like there's like nothing left to say. And maybe Red Dead 3 will tell a completely new, crazy Wild West story, and I'll have to, eat my hat someday. But it's like, it's so definitive. Like, I think Red Dead 2 is it.
Can you eat your hat is a good 20 questions. I was going to say that I hope that the market doesn't dictate what games the Red Dead team wants to make. I know that's not the case, but like if they really loved that game and loved making it, which you can feel in a lot of parts of that game, I hope they get to keep doing it because that's how art should work. It shouldn't be that a bunch of people were disappointed with your art. Like you should keep on making your great art. We shouldn't all be corporate about this all the time.
Well, that's the challenge. I think even thinking of Call of Duty, I referenced that game because they got rid of their campaign, which was like people were really upset about that. But a lot of these games now, I mean, think of the investment time, and who knows how long? Like how long was Red Dead in development? Is there confirmation? Yeah, it's like it felt like
25
forever.
years.
Sure, let's go with
First
that.
one was out
Since
2010,
Lemmings, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Since Lemmings.
So yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, thinking of that and then it maybe having this quick window of selling and then that's it. Like when did it release? Like what was the release date officially on Red Dead?
No one knows.
2.
It was in October.
In October? Okay. So that 3-4 months.
Flounder.
That's not that, but still, if you think about like, okay, you spend like how many years developing this game and like, all of a sudden like, it fizzled out in 3 or 4 months. That still feels like, okay, like from an investment standpoint, your brain is going, wow, that didn't take long if there's not like, battle royales or whatever else that's coming to the game to make it like active over the next like few years.
I think there's, I don't want to spoil anything, but crazy things happen at the end of that game. And not just with like the story. Well, because, I work here and stuff gets spoiled for me. Yeah. But I fell off it. And so
I want you to, after this, I want you to account. Like, just give us an account of the events of the game.
And then I'll tell you.
No,
it's like
I'm in the same boat. I know.
Or something.
No, I think I would do a better job than you think. Like I know, like anyway, there's stuff that happens with your character and your gang that's crazy, but that's not even what I'm referring to. I'm referring to just crazy stuff in the world that, like in GTA, just everyone on Earth was talking about it and speculating about it, and it makes me
like the UFO stuff in GTA.
Like the UFO stuff in GTA, Red Dead has stuff that's equally crazy like that no one's talking about, and there's not any buzz about, and there's no like trying to dig into it, and so that makes me think, just anecdotally, that like almost everybody fell off before they got to the post-game stuff where you're starting to discover all these crazy, weird breadcrumbs that seem to be building up to something that like that surprisingly few people are digging into.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, you were saying, Sam, you hope the market doesn't dictate the future of Red Dead. We always talk about how Rockstar is in the unique position of being able to spend unlimited time and resources making things. So, if anyone could make whatever game they wanted to, it could be Rockstar.
But you don't see them making Max Payne still and
true.
stuff like that. I don't know
People
what
want
their
a new Max
motivations
Payne,
are,
though.
but I hope the motivation is for their team to say, like, we love Westerns and we want to make the most beautiful Western you've ever seen, and that's what they get to do.
Yeah.
Hope that's what they get to do.
Now, even comparison to Mass Effect Andromeda, though, I think people expected. I mean, watching that unfold, that was crazy because I ended up doing a lot of coverage on that. They basically didn't do anything for it after at all. Like it was like
They canceled the DLC.
Canceled, like cut our losses. So I mean, that's pretty real when these kind of things happen, where you expect something out of it a little more, and then it doesn't. Like no one would have expected that of Mass Effect Andromeda on release. Like the hype for that game was massive.
Yeah.
Pretty huge.
Yeah, it's true. Same with Fallout 76.
True.
Red Dead's gotten 2 battle royales.
Is that true?
Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens.
And
with
one that was just knives and arrows. That was nearer to launch. And then they just got the regular one.
So I heard about that. So is that like gaining a lot of traction? Are people?
That's what I was gonna say. Is like
Playing
the
it?
online
Not
is
even
gonna be, we'll see. Like that's an evolving situation by design.
Yeah.
Right? So
I think GTA Online also had a slow start.
It did.
GTA Online was
sure.
Yeah.
broken as shit for months.
Yeah.
And then they cleaned it up, and now it's still going strong years and years later. And Red Dead started from a online wasn't broken at launch. It was fairly strong at launch. But are people playing it? Do people care? Like, is it making money for Rockstar? Like, are they going to have enough new substantive things to sort of keep that game in the news for years and years? We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
All right, this is Steven. Do you think it's Steven Segal?
Could be.
Steven Tyler. Well, how does he spell it?
With a V. So
Unlikely to be. Yeah.
Now we know who
Tyler.
it is.
Tyler.
Steven says, I have a wife who doesn't understand why people play video games. I still play, but recently she has come to believe CJ's going to blow a
Getting
gasket.
close to home.
It's going to be good TV if he spits this
Okay,
up.
I got us all. We're good. Continue.
Why did you react that way?
Because, I mean, I'll tell you after. Keep going.
Wait.
Take a big drink
Oh, is this
first.
you writing in under a
No, it's not my alias.
assumed name? I still play, but
Not my
recently she
alias.
has come to believe the amount I play is unhealthy. On average, I play anywhere from 5 to 10 hours a week. Some weeks I can play more depending on if a new game has been recently released. I personally don't think this is an unreasonable amount of time or unhealthy. I was wondering if the Omega Cops think there's a certain amount of time when playing video games becomes unhealthy or unreasonable. Thanks for the amazing show every week.
Does the C in CJ stand for Steve?
That's my middle name.
Writing in is CJG. Wait, no, that's too obvious.
C.
C. Gibson.
I mean, so this is an interesting thing. Now, I have kids. Justin, you have kids. Does he say there was no mention of children in this equation?
no.
This is what I was going to get into as well.
That is a huge caveat to the situation, I think.
In what way?
Because when you do have children, especially once you have two, Justin, you're experiencing this,
Yeah.
you get to be like, oh, one for you, one for me.
Yeah, you
When
got to
you have-
divide and conquer.
Exactly. When you have three, you're like, oh
impossible.
gosh, mass chaos.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I would say that if that is a concern right now, he probably has kids.
I think 5 to 10 hours. I think it has less to do with how many hours you're playing video games and more to do with is that habit, that video game habit, or whatever habit is in your life. Is it spilling over and affecting?
Yeah. Or
The parts of your life that you
Yes.
that you can't afford to neglect.
interfering with your responsibilities,
Your work,
or you ignoring your wife.
Yeah, your love life, or whatever the case may be. So,
Yeah.
if 5 to 10 hours allows you to be an effective parent and husband and employee at your job, then great. But if it doesn't, then maybe not so great. So, it has less to do with the game time, in my opinion.
Very true. Yeah, because I like even before I started working at IGN, I played a lot of video games. I was a freelance guy, so I worked and did the gaming in the evening. When children are younger, super difficult. But then also it depends on your stages of life, like when you got married, your expectations. Like there's a lot of things. I think to put a number on it is impossible.
There is a bias against the Americans will sit and watch television all evening.
Yeah.
And, like it's fine. But then if you sit and play a video game or watch Twitch all evening, kind of people have a tendency to be like attribute that to like that guy's a loser or whatever.
Sports
like,
fans, I imagine, watch 5 to 10 hours of sports a week.
Easily.
So it's like,
well, and think about this. Do you guys all have cable? Do you have cable television?
I do.
No.
You do? Okay, what do you mostly watch on TV now?
The Bachelor.
There you go. No, this is fair. I watch The Bachelor also with my wife, but
Well, if your wife's upset by how much you watch The Bachelor,
Yeah, that's what bugs her. Yeah,
Now, I'm assuming your wife is also watching The Bachelor, right?
Yes.
Just checking.
not watching it on myself.
Okay.
he says that.
Never know. But I mean, now you can do like internet TV, where if you do have that, you can just, stream The Bachelor live. So it's funny. I don't know of many people who have cable. So yeah, that TV reference, like my dad would watch sports all the time, and that was like a non-issue. 5 or 10 minutes of or 5 or 10 hours of gaming now seems a little bit more common. People are watching it in different places like Twitch and streaming services on your phone. So I don't know if he factors that in as well too, right?
I mean, I kind of think I actually don't. Me and my wife don't really argue. We totally have like a partnership in our marriage and stuff. But when we used to argue before we had kids, that was one of my. I'm like, I'm not into sports.
Yep.
Like a football game could be on every single Sunday, afternoon and into the evening, and Monday night football and Thursday night football, and then there's another sports. Like there's people that's their lifestyle, and that's just not my lifestyle.
yeah.
You knew who you were marrying. You can't be upset about these
My
video
wife did
games
too.
in the house.
Yeah, we had that conversation before, and now it's
Yeah.
like it's a non-issue.
And then once you have kids, you don't have time to do anything. So
You just
it
hope
kinda
for the
solves-
best.
It just solves itself. You just throw some child kibble on the
Something
floor.
like that. Or,
Cheerios.
I mean, ultimately, like what then usually happens, everybody's like, oh, why don't you get your wife into gaming? And so that happened to me a little bit, but my wife is into mobile games.
Yeah.
That is an expensive hobby, let
Oh,
me
yeah,
tell
'cause of
you.
all the
By the
Oh
way,
my gosh.
anecdotally,
Hurtful.
on my bus, every single day, half my bus is playing Pokemon Go. That game is
There you
still
go.
Oh, wow.
still has a hold of
Yep.
people.
Wow.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
On the bus?
Yep. They cheat it
the
because
part.
if you're going too fast, they know you're not on foot, and so
The
they
bus
won't-
moves pretty slow.
But the bus moves slow enough that you're able to swipe Pokestops and stuff.
Yeah. Communication is the key. That's, I think, the verdict.
Just bottle it all up.
Swallow it deep down into the pit of your being.
And it'll just never come out.
Acceptance.
This is Joe in Tasmania, Australia.
Whoa.
Yeah. Taz.
Yeah.
You think it's Joe the Volcano?
There it is.
It's Joe the Volcano. Yes. No, isn't it Joe versus the Volcano?
Yeah, it is. I didn't even get the joke right.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Meg Ryan? Who's
I
the
don't
girl
know.
in that?
Nobody knows.
can't remember.
It's not
I,
Meg
don't know, I
Ryan.
have seen it though.
They were only in the
saw
two
it.
I remember
together.
it all.
It is Meg Ryan.
Oh,
Thank you.
They did 3 of them together?
Thank you,
Producer
producer
Dan.
Dan.
I thought
Yeah.
they only did 2.
She plays 2 characters in that movie.
For years, by the way. I didn't know that Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail were different movies.
It's fair. That's fair.
That's fair. Joe says he wants to know, why do we say we beat a game? Says, I would like you to just discuss why people, including GameScoop, use the term beat the game. You don't beat a book or beat a movie. This has always bothered me. Dungeons and Dragons players don't beat the dungeon master. The DM is there to facilitate a player's journey through a game world, just like a video game. When I finished Skyrim, I felt like I had completed a game. I hadn't beaten it because it wasn't a competition between me and the game. Why does everyone use this term to imply a me versus everything mentality? If I stop playing a game, I don't feel like it beat me. Why do you use this term?
It's because games did used to beat you.
Yeah, the game.
Absolutely.
If you give up on a game, the game
Yeah.
absolutely beat you.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I mean, look, man, like language is fluid and like words have multiple meanings and change and shift over time. We were talking before we started recording about how why are the end strong enemy at the end of a level called a boss? It makes no sense if you actually think about how the language of that word boss, but it's just become,
It makes,
it's taken on its
like-
own meaning, right?
Yeah. It's like Bowser. At least he has like underlings, but he's not like their boss, right?
It
He
makes-
doesn't pay them. Or maybe he does. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
But just like a monster that you fight in Dark Souls or Bloodborne,
Yeah.
like that's not a boss.
They're
It's a
bosses,
boss,
right?
Literally.
Even though they're not bosses in terms
Yeah.
of.
But I don't know where the term beat comes from, because like in the early days, like in the arcade days, no one was beating in a game. You're just trying to get as high a score.
No, I think that is where it came from.
Think so?
Arcades?
Yeah. Well, first of all, like that's where the idea of the player versus the computer came from. So that's a really important part of this, right? Now, Pong was player versus player. So that was like, before that, it was all fun. But then once AI was around, you could play Breakout, you play it against the computer. You get as far as you can get. And then once games came home, then you could play them so long that they put a little ending screen in.
Yeah.
And that's when you completed the game or beat it, or, and as they said in Britain, as we were making fun of, solved it.
Yeah.
And all that comes from, I mean, you also solve a puzzle. You know, if you had a jigsaw puzzle, or if you have a puzzle box or something, you
Beat that
solve
jigsaw
it.
puzzle.
And the beat, I think, is a little bit more competitive term that comes from us versus computer that is used for it. I think that's where that comes from. And you say stuff like, I beat cancer. You say stuff like that. You know,
You beat your opponent in chess or at basketball or whatever.
they'll
And
say-
so when you have a digital opponent,
Yeah.
makes sense to translate it to that.
Exactly. It's from competition.
Use it in football. The Patriots beat the Chiefs, right?
I wonder if you mentioned AI. Like obviously, PacMan is the first high-profile example of like, those ghosts are trying to move in a human-like way. They're trying to move in a way that mimics, there's intelligence there. Those ghosts are thinking.
Gotcha.
But I wonder if that's what's the earliest example of video game AI?
Well, that's what I was wondering, because when you say arcade, I'm trying to think of an
There- I
arcade game that wasn't like a quarter sucker where, like, typically speaking, you can play those games forever. Like, you were going for
It would
the
be like
score.
Space Invaders, and before
I
that,
was gonna
had
say, Space
things
Invaders
that
is before
you would-
Pac-Man.
But that doesn't have any. They're not trying to move in an
They're not-
erratic way
They're not reacting
or
to you. They're,
No,
just, they're moving on their path.
They're
a
cleverly
pattern.
moving
Yeah.
left and then right.
down.
Centipede,
And down.
Was Centipede before or after Pac-Man?
Centipede is
Before.
the same year, 1980.
I was 78.
And that's
I
by
trust
Atari.
you more than me.
And of course, Namco and Midway published Pac-Man. So those
Yeah,
are
that's
both
really interesting. Even like asteroids doesn't have any AI working against you, because you shoot the asteroids and they break up into smaller pieces and separate.
Yeah, Pac-Man definitely has things going after you. The Centipede, Everything in Centipede is based on not your position, on its own motion. The Centipede works based on the mushrooms. The spider just bounces. The flea just fills in mushrooms. So.
And the fact that their AI is incredibly rudimentary, but they were different. They had different personalities, right?
Yeah.
Like the red one's hunting you, and then Clyde's just an idiot.
And how that actually works is one is saying reduce the amount of distance between you and PacMan all the time.
Yeah.
Another one is saying, well, do that, but always take turns in a way to get there. Like it's like they all have a slightly different.
And then one's just
path to
moving
get
wherever
to
he
it.
wants.
They all chase you in a different way, which is really cool though. Like, wow, that's what a great idea that is. But that gets back to I think you versus the computer, and you're putting in a quarter, which was over $1 back then.
Yeah.
And you put that in, and then you're like, as far as you can get, it's like you're winning that time, but eventually you lose to the computer. But that is what happens in arcade games. That's what was so different about, as I was mentioning, home games. Like a completion screen was a big deal when I was a kid. Like in 1986, 1987, when Super Mario Brothers came out.
That's what I was
say that
thinking.
it has an ending.
I know.
Like that was unique.
I don't feel like I beat any of my NES games.
Oh,
I like
probably beat Mario 2 if you had that.
maybe.
That's pretty easy.
I like.
You beat Mario 3?
I don't know.
Do you not remember the ending for Mario 2? To me, that was like.
Oh, it's
that was
so
iconic.
good.
Yeah.
and then there's
So
the
amazing.
reward for beating a game, which has an ending.
So for me, like it's weird when you say that because score is something that it's not in games enough of. It's not in games like anymore as often, but it is something you think of like that's where I think maybe it comes from. Mario had a score, like Super Mario for NES
all
had a
those
score.
early NES games do.
It's weird. You could play the game
Mario
over
3
and
has a
over again.
score.
It does, and now your brain probably never thinks about it. But
So vestigial.
in competition standpoint, I remember playing in competitions, and it would go by: did you beat the game? Did it end? But Mario kept going infinitely. Your score, I think, kept accumulating. So
One of
you
my
could potentially
favorite-
play till your lives were gone.
Just modern gaming things. I attribute it to sort of the rise of Xbox Live Arcade is just the high score coming back.
Yeah.
And high score games coming back is such a great thing that wasn't just lost forever.
Yep. And gamer tags and scores, we're all
Games
kind
like
of
Ding
that.
Dong
like,
XL. and
showcase.
just
Oh, yeah.
compete
Ding
and
Dong XL.
try to get on that leaderboard.
We know the number 2 player in the world for that.
We also know the number 50 player in the world.
Is Jared now number 2?
Jared Petty's number 2 in the world.
Who's number 1, I wonder?
Let's find him.
Well,
Let's get
here's
him
a
on
challenge, Game
Who's
Scoop watchers and listeners. Beat Jared.
Yeah.
Get that number 1.
Was I? Oh, so getting back to his question about how do
Eating
people
game. Why do we
refer?
say that?
I don't see people talk this way, but people write differently than they talk. And I see on Twitter and on forums that people say credits rolling on blah blah.
I rolled credits.
Yeah, and that's like
Said
a
that to me
new.
on Resident Evil.
I'm sure you can find examples of that going back decades, but that's the way that people refer to, even me. Like, I'm like, oh, credits rolling on God of War. What an amazing experience. Like, that would be my tweet following the end of that game. To me, I think that's because games they're more of like a dialogue and experience. And like, you went on a journey together with like, the game developer and the team that made that game. And it's less about like, yes, I overcame the challenge and saved the princess and beat the game, and more about like, the adventure you just went on.
Do you guys watch the credits?
Always.
Yeah,
Mandatory.
I like watching their credits.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
they're really interesting.
I always watch the credits.
Yeah.
I always like when they add something to it, but I definitely feel guilty about skipping them.
Yeah, I never skip them, but if they're rolling on for a long time, I may like make a sandwich or something.
Sometimes they have a scroll, which is nice.
For the new games, it's crazy sometimes how long they will go. I remember
It's amazing.
I remember beating God of War. I think the post-credit scene is almost 15 minutes long.
Any Rockstar game, the credits go on forever.
I rolled credits on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And boy, I do watch the credits in games, but I'm like, this is too much. I gave up. I gave up after a while.
All right, this is Andrew. He says, when I heard about the announcement of Far Cry New Dawn, I was both excited and disappointed. I was happy at the thought of getting a new Far Cry game since it is my favorite game franchise, but also disappointed that it is taking place in a post-apocalyptic setting. The one thing I've always loved most about the franchise is its real-world settings and realistic nature, from the tropical island in Far Cry 3, caveman times in Far Cry Primal, and of course, Montana in Far Cry 5.
Okay.
With so many games in recent memory being focused on magic, dungeon crawling, and final smashes, it is very disheartening to see a franchise I love following the curve instead of following its own path. Have you ever been disappointed in the direction that a game or franchise you love has decided to go?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can give you such a concrete example.
Lay it on us.
Crackdown 2.
There you go.
So I have a theory about this. Like, Crackdown 2 is really maligned. People don't really like it. It's just forgotten. And that game, the original game, took place in, it was very heightened reality, but a realistic-ish city. You're a superhero in a city filled with like normal people. And the sequel was zombies. Like zombies had overrun the town, and now you're mowing down zombies and running through sort of an apocalyptic scenario. And that made your superhero powers feel so less interesting, and you felt so less like you didn't feel nearly as powerful because you're running around a world filled with zombies and these fantastical elements, compared to the original game where you felt awesome leaping over these buildings and doing awesome abilities when you were the only one that was special or different. And so I don't know how much of a point he has with Far Cry, because even 3 and 4, they were always like very sort of heightened in their sense of reality. But you being a superhuman and doing crazy stuff in a little bit more grounded scenario, I can understand how that would be less appealing than doing it in a more fantastical scenario.
Yeah. How about you guys?
The worst feeling is when a series changes and then it stays that way.
So what's an example?
Well, an example I don't agree with is one that I heard a lot about Resident Evil, and it's when it switched to 4, people were like, this is not a horror game anymore. It's not scary. And because the controls and the tank controls and everything were manufactured, to make this like sense of fear because you're just so overpowered all the time and you have to get good.
Yeah.
But 4 like makes you into an action hero basically, and you
can high kick.
Yeah, you can roundhouse. So that's like an example of that where it's like, and then the series.
But then it did come back around.
Yeah, it stayed with that for
4, 5,
through
6.
some bad games. Like it made a bad game. 6, I think, is the bad game.
Each got worse, yeah.
And then 7 kind of tried to bring it back around, but it's not Resident Evil like with the stuck camera and
at least it slowed things down. It's not an action movie.
But that was like an interesting kind of nod to maybe we've lost our way.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think the Mario series did that in a way that we were just talking about the other day, where Super Mario World, I think, is the best example of having a really cool map filled with secrets. And then it just never did that again. I like how Mario 64 had the paintings in the castle too. So let's set aside the 3D games. The 2D Mario games have never gone back to having a cool overworld. They have this crappy, like you look down at the world, it's like there's the path next level, there's the path next level. Maybe like in Mario U, there's like a a side path or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say
nothing like Mario.
So many secrets in Mario World.
So there was it in Mario U, but do you feel that just because it was something that was this is hard for me to say, like if you didn't experience it before, and this is what I always wondered with kids, if you showed them the new thing, would they like the new thing or the old thing better? Like if I showed them the Mario Wii U, would they like Mario World better?
Yeah. Does going back to play Mario World after playing all these other Mario games, does it hold up?
I think Mario World definitely holds up.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. But it's interesting. I mean, so I got to give my examples now with probably 2 real quick, though. Destiny 2, obviously. I can't not say it. It's a sequel.
People really changed it enough to...
So the weird thing is they changed enough of it that people lambasted it as, 1.5. You didn't change enough.
Lambasted, how they say it in Canada?
That's how they say, lambasted is a new word again.
What? This is there you go. And see, now forever when CJ just says something weird, he can blame it on being Canadian.
Lamb-based. People were really upset at 1.5 Destiny. It didn't look like too much different from the original. But then when people got into it, they made it a little bit more approachable, made some executive decisions that people didn't like. So then I was like, you changed too much. So there was this back and forth thing. Ninja Gaiden as well. I was a fan of that franchise. We got Ninja Gaiden 3 for Xbox, like the newer versions. Changed a lot of it. Now to the point where we're waiting for Ninja Gaiden 4. There's been Neo. There's been a whole bunch of other Tecmo games. We're kind of excited for maybe something in that space, but I don't know if they did a good job.
I don't know if this game ever came out. What happened to Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z?
Yes, Ninja Gaiden Z.
Is that a real thing?
It was, yeah. So even that got released after, I think it was in between Ninja Gaiden 2 and Ninja Gaiden 3.
Is that true?
Yeah, and it was like this weird kind of art direction style that was nothing like the Xbox versions. It was like cool for what it was, but again, expectation-wise, it didn't meet it. And so... yeah, I mean, I see that a lot. I don't know the answer. It's weird. I don't like Ninja Gaiden 2 or 3 as good as 1, but in a situation with Halo, I liked Halo 2 better than Halo 1.
Halo is what I was going to name drop as well.
Yeah.
There's certain developers, Bungie and then 343, that I just feel a little bad for because they get a little trapped.
Yeah.
It's clear as day to anyone that Halo needs to change and evolve to stay contemporary and current. That franchise has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But they're sort of held hostage by their mega fans that,
Absolutely.
every single, like the reticle bloom on this gun is a little different. Time to kill is slightly different. Locomotion around the game map is slightly different. And they're not necessarily wrong to complain and pick those things apart, but it really puts the developers in a tight spot with certain long-running franchise that people are that are held, to a really, really high beloved standard.
Yeah.
You know what else went down the wrong path for too long was Zelda.
That's the other one I was going to name.
Twilight Princess and then Skyward Sword.
Absolutely,
I think took the wrong ideas from Ocarina and Majora's Mask, and then just made like great games with them. But that wasn't the right path, and I think Zelda, is back on track now.
The thing with Breath of the Wild, I'm so curious to see where they go.
Don't say it. I didn't say it.
You did.
Aren't you wondering how we say the word that you said?
Yeah, I mean, land-based, just to say it.
We say it lambaste.
It's one of my absolute favorite games from this generation and one of my favorite games of all time. But this isn't what I want Zelda to be forever. Like at some point in my life, I'm going to want it to kind of go back to there's dungeons and, you're going through just the classic Zelda thing. So that puts Nintendo in an interesting position of are we going to get a Majora's Mask? That's how we say it here in America.
He said Majora's
Interesting game. Yeah.
Are we going to get a Majora's Mask, sort of esque twisted version of that game, or where do they go from here? So when you do something super, super different that's also really, really well received, it does put you in an interesting position in regards to plotting out the future of the franchise.
Yeah.
I'm not in Nintendo's case; they're going to be fine because they've been doing that with Mario and Zelda forever. But
Castlevania made that 3D game that was really bad.
They made a few, and then they did Symphony of the Night, right?
Mega Man as well. Mega Man went to that space, and I was like, oh no, don't do that. But
I've got one. Metroid Prime, Federation Force.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
People were not fans of that game. But Metroid Prime Pinball was pretty cool.
Dude, love that.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
2 tables in it.
Yeah. It was neat.
Yeah.
One more email this week. This is from Nolan. He says, I am a police detective who works for an agency in the Phoenix, Arizona metropolitan area.
I think we're giving away too much on Nolan here.
Nolan offered up this information. I often work long, stressful weeks. I play video games in part to clear my head and detach from the content of police work.
yes.
In conjunction with video games, I look forward to your show every week as a way to ease a stressful time. I felt compelled to write to express my appreciation for you and the whole crew that put GameScoop together. GameScoop is a great show. I appreciate the quality put forth every week. Keep up the good work, and thank you. You're welcome, Nolan.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for your service, too. I'm from Phoenix, so shout out.
Stay safe out there.
Nice.
And that brings us to Video Game 20 questions. Our suggestion this week comes from Carl. It's with a K. So that tells you a lot right there.
Which Carl is this?
It's probably Mortal Kombat.
Let the questioning begin.
Do you play as a human?
Yes.
That's good. Is this from before 1990?
No.
All right, so I got to do better. And one of the things that I've seen in the comments is that I got to ask and identify platform. We got to figure that out. When we do that, we do a better job.
All right, let's not go for a platform before 1990 then, because that won't make sense.
Should I use the disc-based medium question?
I love that one.
I know you do. Let me use that. Is it on a disc-based medium?
Yes.
Okay.
Was this game developed in Japan?
No.
Is this from after 2000?
Yes.
Oh boy,
that's 5.
So, would this be, say, Microsoft product on a Microsoft system?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Well, that was.
I know.
I'm glad we got it.
I know. Just wanted to go right there, right away. All right. Risky, Sam, but let's do it.
Okay, so that leaves 3 Microsoft consoles. Did this game come out on the original Xbox?
No.
2 more.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, we only need one more question to get there.
It's true. Just ask it.
Does this game have sequels?
You son of a bitch.
Yes.
I'm just gonna ask it.
Yeah.
Is it on the Xbox One?
No.
All right,
Okay,
it's a
so
360
360
game. And when what was the Microsoft?
What about Microsoft Windows?
Did you ask? I forget how he phrased it. Is it next? Do we know that it's a 360 exclusive? Was it made by Microsoft?
I did. That's what I was trying to get at in like a roundabout way to determine if it was Xbox.
We don't really know if it's a
PlayStation.
platform.
So we don't know if it's
exclusive, I
platform
guess,
exclusive.
Okay? Let's just
So
burn
it's
the
360 game.
Was this game a 360 exclusive?
Yes.
Okay.
That's 10.
It's got sequels.
Yep.
Not made in Japan.
But you're a human, so I'm
You play
eliminating
as a human.
a couple of their
Master Chief's
exactly.
human.
But no, is he? Yeah.
Yes. What? Yes.
I mean, yeah, I know, but it's a super soldier.
That's fine.
Do we give this game above an 8?
Ooh, I don't know. I can't answer that one.
Would you give it above an 8?
Ooh, I like that.
Oh,
Would I give this game above an 8? I'm gonna. I have not played this game, so I can't.
oh, okay.
Also,
that's
great
good.
to
That's
know.
good. So
Also,
it's
can I
Does this game
answer
have
that
multiplayer?
question? I'm sorry.
Does this have multiplayer?
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
Damon was the downloadable content editor at this time.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That means it's not very unlikely to be an Xbox Live Arcade game because you played.
So we did say that it's an exclusive. So it
we did not
limits-
say that.
Oh, I thought. What question
Did I
you
say
ask?
that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
you
asked if
did.
It was exclusive to Xbox.
Yeah.
So I,
'Cause
blacked,
I-
I
we're
blacked
good.
out when I was.
Yeah,
asking.
no, so I was eliminating all the
Yeah.
multi-platform games like
Yeah.
Call of Duty
Yeah.
and whatever else.
Yeah.
Is this a? Do we ask if it's a first-person shooter or no?
No.
No, that's a good question.
Is this a first-person shooter?
No.
Okay.
Ooh, multiplayer, not first-person shooter.
Yeah, that eliminates.
That's
a lot.
weird. Racing.
Racing, could be Forza, could be
Sports.
something like that. What else was? The launch window was a question last time that we asked. That was really good.
Was this game published by Microsoft?
Yes.
Okay, we got to get this.
Yeah.
Did they do? They do Forza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that start on 360?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's been around
Is
a
this
long
game
time.
about cars?
No.
Okay. Huh. So not Halo, not Cars.
A Microsoft game that has multiplayer.
If Damon's feeling tricksy, it could be Gears of War.
Could be. Is this
Damon's probably played Gears of War.
okay? So I asked if it was
What are
a
you making that
first-person
face for?
shooter.
I was trying to figure out why you think
Because
that'd be
first-person shooter.
Because it's
versus
third person.
Yeah,
but
I know.
It
That's
still it plays like a first
I
person.
should have asked if
shooter.
it was a shooter. Then
What else did Microsoft really do then? I mean, they did puzzle games.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, Gears of War seems
Viva
too
Pinata.
obvious.
yeah. This one has multiplayer though.
Yeah.
Should I ask if it's third person?
It'd be 1 versus 100. You remember that?
1
Yeah.
versus 100.
That's good.
That game was fun.
Yeah. Or
Bring it back, man. Like that was so ahead of its time. Think about like Bandersnatch now. Like if there was
Totally
1
is.
versus 100 on
yeah.
Netflix just every
Yeah.
evening.
mean, it's like
yes,
Trivia
okay,
HQ,
Yes,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Trivia
didn't it
HQ.
have its own controller?
I never played with that. I played with a 360 controller.
I think it came out with like a weird thing because I remember seeing it in the office. I was like, "What the heck is that for?"
totally ahead of its time.
So should we go puzzle or third person? Because I feel like
you can
there's
do whatever you want, man.
You could just ask if there's shooting in it or something like that.
But see, I already asked if it was a first person shooter and it's no. So is it a
Could still be Gears of War though. That's
I know.
the problem.
I know. Well, let's ask the puzzle one because then is it a puzzle game?
No.
What in the world? How does that help us?
No, because
That's why I was trying to get you
No, because
to do
the-
a wider.
I know, but like
Okay.
I feel like
Now
it
I know.
eliminates anything that could have been
Like Zuma. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's
one.
okay.
It's my one airball.
5 questions left.
5 questions left.
Yeah.
I thought for sure we were gonna get this.
We're in 15.
360 game published by Microsoft, has multiplayer, not a first person shooter,
Not a puzzle game.
not a car
a
game,
drivey.
not a
puzzle
drivey game.
It's not Blue Dragon.
not Blue Dragon.
Conquer's Bad Fur Day thing.
That did have multiplayer.
That weird Conquer game.
Does this game have shooting in it? You shoot,
Oh wait. Go ahead.
You shooting things in this game?
Yes.
So it still could be Gears of War.
Yeah. Gears of War.
Should have added in.
What are we doing?
Why?
But it could be the Conquer game, which had to reload it on Xbox.
Yeah, that's
it
what I
doesn't
mean.
have sequels though.
Yeah, that's true. That was the last
Or
one.
maybe it does that I don't know about. I don't think so. Though.
I feel like we could just guess a Gears game almost near the end if we have to here. Which is
No,
the reason why
let's
we
just-
got to eliminate all the rest.
All you gotta do is just ask if it's a third person shooter.
Is this? Should we ask if it's violent?
Yeah.
Well, what did we just ask? If it had shooting in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So it's pretty
They're
violent.
all violent. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, third person shooter would potentially isolate Gears.
Could be Geometry Wars. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
don't
but
know
that'd be too easy.
At this point, I mean, we almost need to eliminate the other things it could be.
No, what are you talking about? I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. We got 3 more. So if we ask a third person shooter, we're guessing
It's
Gears
just fun to
one of
ask
whatever.
questions that apply to other things.
It would be because
it
there's
wouldn't
not
be.
too many exclusives left. At this point, it might be actually.
Dan's trying to get this show on the road.
is this a third person shooter?
Even though there is shooting in it, I don't think people consider this a third-person shooter, like as a genre.
It's probably not Gears of War.
Even
Probably
though
not
there
Gears.
is shooting, and it's not a first-person shooter.
Got it.
What's the game with just the flashlights?
They did Banjo Nuts and Bolts with
Yeah.
the flashlights.
Yeah. Alan
Wake. But that didn't have multiplayer.
Is it not Microsoft too?
I don't
That
know.
is.
It was
It did have
Remedy
a
developed it,
sequel.
but I don't know if they published it.
Sam, don't forget the hack.
Yeah. Have we mentioned this game already?
Are you asking about qualify? Like, in what time period have we mentioned this game?
On the show or in 20
In the last 60 seconds.
On the show.
Have you mentioned this game on the show? Yes. 2 questions
So-
left.
That drives me insane.
It's-
I don't
it gotta
remember.
be
I
Alan Wake.
sit in this chair and I black out for an hour.
It has to be, because
It has to be
it
what?
can't be Gears. And they only mentioned Alan Wake. What other Microsoft?
It doesn't have
The Conquer
multiplayer.
game is the other one that we mentioned.
Well, pretty much then we could just ask it if it's those 2 games, then hopefully it's
No,
one
but
of them.
but I could be
This-
that we mentioned this in our previous discussions today.
This game has multiplayer. It could be Red Dead Redemption. Mm-hmm. Could be Red Dead. No, they didn't publish that. Never mind. That was
And it has sequels.
Should we just ask the question? Do we mention it during 20 questions?
could be Geometry Wars.
Oh, that's the question we should have, because Ninja Gaiden was
Yeah.
also.
Could it be Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah, it could be. The first one was.
This game has
360
multiplayer.
though.
Yeah, it was console exclusive for a while.
Do you shoot guns?
I feel like everyone's ignoring
You
me.
do shoot guns.
This
No,
game has multiplayer.
Ninja Gaiden had
Some type of
form of it,
multiplayer.
but like
Really?
not till 3.
Could be Crimson Sky. No, that was the original Xbox.
we didn't mention that.
Oh,
Oh, you're right.
Crimson Skies is really good.
We didn't mention
actually.
it, guys.
You're right. Okay. Oh my gosh, my brain. I'm stuck on the exclusive
This is
part.
the best.
Oh, it's not. I'm breaking.
Yeah. Did we do
2
okay.
questions.
I want to know if we mentioned it in 20 questions, but then we have to make a guess after that,
Yeah,
right?
sure. Let's do
Did we
it.
mention it in 20 questions?
No.
Oh! Oh!
All right. This is it.
Oh my God! We have all
right,
the
let me see
information we need. I
I
need
need the
to see
show
your
notes.
No.
Why?
My notes.
Why?
Nothing. No. You
We
need to
got to
know.
review the episode.
Did any of the Resident Evils have? No, they didn't. They weren't published by Capcom.
No, and they weren't. And they're shooting. They're third-person shooter.
What did we talk about this
We
episode?
talked about Kingdom Hearts and Resident Evil.
yeah, those.
This is
were
really
the-
interesting
Then we-
entertainment for the
360.
audience right now.
And then we talked about all the indie games. Did it come up in the context of any? Crackdown.
Crackdown.
It's probably Crackdown.
yeah.
Oh, it
that
is.
have
No,
multiplayer?
because Ninja Gaiden was the first one was on the OG Xbox, not
Yeah.
on 360.
Is it
So
Crackdown?
no Ninja Gaiden. I think it's Crackdown.
Is it Crackdown?
Yeah, I think it's good.
It's cracked.
Yes.
Justin,
I
with
gave
your
you guys- I
final.
gave you guys help with that
Oh
one.
man,
Yes. I reminded Sam.
We haven't won in a while.
I reminded Sam of the hack.
oh,
Okay, that's
nice.
How long we had to
Sounds
ask?
good.
Did we hear this on 20 questions?
I was so caught up with the exclusive thing, I just couldn't see all the other questions that Crimson Skies didn't fall into.
The original Crackdown, 2007, published by Microsoft, but developed by Real Time World.
What's the multiplayer?
There's just
It
a
just had
multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
multiplayer.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
in
co-op.
there.
Everything had to have it at the time.
You just run around that
That
game
era.
world. It was great. I played it with my buds.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry for everybody that probably got that on question 10.
Yeah,
we
that's
did
almost
fine.
No, I continued with my abysmal performance, and yet somehow, thank you,
A win's
Justin.
a win's
I
a win.
appreciate
You
it.
were very helpful. You
when
got
you-
it narrowed down to Xbox.
The Xbox, yeah.
When
that
you
was,
brought up, Justin, when you brought up Crackdown earlier on, I was like, ooh, now they're going to get 20 questions really easily.
We didn't.
There's a dynamic when we have a person that hasn't played a whole lot on. They'll ask a really direct question about
Specific, yeah, the
something,
puzzle.
and when they get it, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like somebody will
Microsoft.
say like, "Did this come out on PlayStation 3?" And then you get it, and you're just like, "Well, we don't have to ask 15 questions."
Yeah.
well, it's like I tried to rein by looking at the comment section your disc-based medium format question because in the last 4 episodes you've potentially said laser disc or red disc or something, and everybody's like, just say optical disc,
Optical
which
disc.
covers
I think I did
a
that
CD.
2 times
yeah,
ago.
yeah. So
Yeah, because that covers the UMD also.
exactly,
The important thing is that we won.
truth.
Nicely
Thank you.
job. Thank you for the suggestion, Carl. And that is all the scoops that we have for you this week. I hope everyone has a great time playing Resident Evil 2 this weekend. Real quick
Yeah.
before we go, I just want to remind all of you listeners and viewers out there how much I appreciate you guys. You guys are always super cool, super fun to interact with, whether it's on Twitter or the Facebook fan page or on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not everyone out there is a cool, chill person, but all of you guys are, and I really appreciate you guys tuning into all my stuff. So thank you, as always. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, producer
Thank you.
Dan. My name is Damon. This is IGN Games